Here's the story of the Hare and the Tortoise. There once lived a most bold and boastful hare. He loved to stroll around the warren with his nose held high in the air, and it was evident to one and all that this hare considered himself to be the finest hare in the land. A hare's like a rabbit. Now, there was one thing that the hare was proud of above all else. He'd been blessed with strong back legs that meant he could run around like the wind. He never missed an opportunity to show off his running skills, and no one had ever been known to beat him. He had the pick of the crop in the cabbage patch because he always got there before anyone else. Early in the morning, while the other hares were still sleeping, he would scamper up the hill to the vegetable patch, eat his fill, then scamper down again. All that could be seen of the speedy hare was a flash of white as his fluffy cottontail bobbled by. He was certainly a fine hare, and with his long ears constantly twitching, he never missed a trick, at least not until the day he met the tortoise, who slowly crawled by as the hare was bragging to his friends. Hurry up, old tortoise," laughed the hare. "If you went much slower, the grass would grow over you." The tortoise stared at him coolly. "You may rush about all you wish," he said, "but I get to where I want to be soon enough, thank you." He looked the hare up and down slowly before continuing. "In fact, I reckon I could get there quicker than you, fast as you are." The hare burst out laughing. "Quicker than me? That I should like to see. Nobody is quicker than me." "All the same," replied the tortoise calmly, "I challenge you to a race. Name the time and place and I'll be there." The hare thought it was amusing that the tortoise would want to race him, and he agreed all the same. The arrangements were soon made, and the very next day everyone turned out to watch the hare and the tortoise run their race. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, cried the fox, who was acting as umpire, and in a flash the hare was out of sight and over the hill. The crowd clapped and cheered as the old tortoise lifted first one foot, then the other, and slowly began to make his way along the path. He looked neither right nor left, but kept his eyes on the winding road ahead. But how could he hope to beat a natural athlete like the hare? The hare raced along, and as he flashed by, a great cheer went up from the people lining the road. It was obvious that the hare was in a great hurry, but he still found time to turn and wave to his supporters as he ran by, for behind him the tortoise plodded steadily along his way. Soon the hare had reached the race's halfway point, and he skidded to a stop. "I have plenty of time," he said to himself. "I must be miles ahead of that old slow coach by now. In fact, I could have a little snooze right here, and when I wake up I'll still have time to beat that tortoise." So he sat himself down under an old oak tree, leaned back, and closed his eyes. Before long he was fast asleep and snoring. The hours passed by, and after a time the tortoise appeared over the brow of the hill. He ambled down the road until he reached the spot where the hare was fast asleep. The tortoise raised his eyebrows, but said not a word, and without missing a step he continued steadily on his way. On plodded the tortoise, looking neither to the left nor to the right, just straight ahead, keeping his one goal in mind as the sun began to sink. The air grew cooler, and the hare suddenly awoke with a shiver. He yawned, remembering to put his hand over his mouth, and stretched, and looked back down the road and saw to his satisfaction that the tortoise was nowhere in sight. Still plenty of time to win the race, he said to himself. Up he jumped and off down the road he sped once again. But as he came over the brow of the hill, he saw the most amazing sight. There ahead of him was the tortoise, taking his last few steps towards the finish line. The crowds cheered wildly as the shiny shell broke the tape in two and the fox declared him the winner. As the hare panted for breath at the end of the race, the tortoise smiled. Slow I may be, but I keep my eye on the goal and I don't let anything distract me. And the moral of the story is, slow and steady wins the race. And there he is, getting his trophy. See you next time.